What's up? What's up, pepperonis? What's up, pepperonis, guys, aka my fans who are also actually called guys, but today calling them pepperonis because you're awesome, and it doesn't matter what I call you because you'll always be mine, unless you unsubscribe, in which case you know you're still mine because I got my eye on you. I got my eye on you. Yeah, you got the slip, and you can't get rid of it. Like a mattress thing. Once it's there, it's on your record forever. I'm like a ticket. I'm like a ticket, a speeding ticket, or one of those pointless tickets. Especially even worse, a drunk driving ticket. You know what I mean? Don't unsubscribe at the wrong time because ticket you may get. You know what I mean? But anyways, pepperonis, my peeps and everything. Let's get started with today's video because today I'm just gonna sit and talk about more trans things, and stuff. And yeah, you know how I am about talking about stuff, talking about anything in general, especially anything serious. I try to give like extremely open, broad perspective and try to be as least serious as I can possibly be. But yeah, just sitting here talking to a camera and being me and being whatever I am or whatever, however awkward I may be, and maybe I'm just too loose on things, but whenever I try to talk about something seriously, it always comes out seriously like I plan. But the nonchalantness always kind of goes under the radar, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's get started with today's topic. And I don't know, I just thought it was interesting to talk about, but also I know it's very important and probably obviously another requested in general topic, you know what I mean? So I'm probably more than sure, a lot of people have asked for this video, and it's not like I know people have asked, but let's just say I know people have asked because it's just too obvious. It's just too obvious. So this is a trans thing and everything, and like the whole like setup of my transition is like I'm an FTM, right? And an FTM is a female to male transgender person, right? Meaning I was female. I'm transitioning into male and everything, and part of that whole thing is like a medical transition for some people not, some people yes, some people no. But I'm going through a medical transition and everything, so I'm just gonna go through a couple steps of everything I've done so far and how I did it, how to get to it, how how to how how I did some of the stuff. And yes, to first start off the bat, as far as my transition goes and how far along I am with it, I would say I'm pretty far along. Actually, I'm pretty far along with my transition and my expectations and everything. But some of the things about what I'm doing, like I'll go through all that too. But first, let me tell you, as far along as I am and everything, some of the stuff like the ties of the line and everything. Um, okay, so right now the place that I'm in at this point, I want to get top surgery and everything. So that's a very important part. That's a very important part for FTM trans men and everything. So that's the next part I'm trying to get. And after that, basically for me personally, I would say my transition is basically over in itself. I know it may seem crazy, but that's how important the top surgery is because without the top surgery, it just looks like you're midway through or not even as close as far along as you actually are. But imagine like if and when I get the top surgery, you will definitely know that it's over, like literally over. But really, you can never say over because it's literally not over. But like the steps I would take would literally be over. The transition wouldn't be over nearly for a long time, a long time before it's over or could be over. And I'll go, and that's another thing. And so yeah, let me go to that part next. Let me go for that part next. So one of the basic steps is that when I started the hormones for trans men, they take a hormone called testosterone, and I take testosterone every 2 weeks and everything, and I take testosterone shots. Like I take testosterone shots from a vial, and like every 2 weeks from a shot vial, like just like an injection. So I take shots from an injection vial, and I do that every 2 weeks, and that's a big part of it. And one step, you start the hormones, right, and then depending on how long you take them, like the amount of time you take them is kind of like another step too. Because first you got to start, and then you got to get far along on it. So as far along as I am, I'm about I'm three and almost. I guess I'm about like I'm literally almost three years on testosterone right now. So it'll be 3 years in March, but yeah. Okay, hold on. I'm doing good here. I'm doing good, but my legs are just like super stiff, and yeah. Also, I don't want to embarrass myself on camera. I mean, yeah. Don't want to embarrass myself on camera. I mean, any other time being embarrassed would be nice. Well, not nice, but nice. But not during a sit and talk video. But anyways, maybe that's why I sound so serious, because I'm always so freaking stiff. Because how are you gonna sit and talk if you have to sit and talk? You know what I mean? Everyone gets that. Everyone gets that. But anyways, so I've been on testosterone for about 3.5 years now. I guess it will be technically coming on 4 years, 4 years altogether. I'll be 27 in April. So I started when I was 24. I started literally when I was 24. So yeah, I started when I was 24. So I was 24. I started when I was 24 around my birthday. 24, 25, 26, 27. So it would be 4 years. 4 years altogether around the time when I'm planning to talk about and start going through the next steps of getting top surgery. So that's one thing. I started the hormone testosterone, but that's not the first step. That's not the first step you have to go through. And then, okay, so besides that, um, that's not the first step you have to go through, but that's a very important part in everything. So, yeah. Next thing I'm gonna go, and I'm obviously not going in order with the steps, but I'm going to tell you all the steps. I'm going to tell you every single step. Okay, next step I'm going to tell you about. Starting the hormone in general and how it works. Like when you actually physically have the hormone, like starting it and like what it's like physically first day starting it, like the first couple days, the first couple months, weeks, whatever. But yeah, let's start there. The first things when you physically have the shot thing in your possession and you have it and everything. So with that, that's that you do, the first thing that you do is when you get to the doctor. When you get to the doctor the first day, with me, my specific steps and process is that my specific steps and process was that for me the first time when you get to the doctor, the doctor will see you, and the doctor will say, okay, are you ready for your first shot and everything, and they'll give you your first shot and everything. And my specific process, they were giving me shots at the doctor. They were giving me shots at the doctor and everything. And my specific thing is like a good reason to do this. Every situation is different, you know what I'm saying? So my situation really specifically was the doctors were giving me my shot and everything, but they did give me a choice between home shots and doctor shots. And so right off the bat, like before they gave me a decision, I would have to still go into the doctor's office and get the first shot. So right away, we just went with the flow, got the doctor shots like every 2 weeks. Someone would have to take me to the doctor every 2 weeks. my caregiver would have to take me to the doctor every 2 weeks to get my shot and everything. And the reason for that is because, okay, the reason for that, like in other situations, either they give you a choice right off the bat, and you could choose doctor visits or home visits, but in either which, depending on whichever one you choose, or they give you right away home doctor shots, and they just show you how to do the shots and everything, which I thought was the most likely thing. But certain kinds of shots and everything, certain kinds of shots and everything, they take you directly to the doctor depending on what kind of shot and what kind of needle and everything. And also in other situations that are also a thing, if you're applicable for doctor shots, you can obviously get those if you need them, which is something that a lot of people right off the bat, right off the bat tend to expect everything. Some people right off the bat tend to expect from the doctors, but some people don't get that option right off the bat because they don't know the exact process and everything. But some people are luckier than others, and and hold on, crying baby. I think I'm doing good. And if some of the stuff doesn't make sense, I'll watch it over. I'll watch this whole video over and see how much sense I how much sense it seems like it can make. And if it makes sense to me, I'll post it. But if it doesn't make sense to you, you can always comment for me, or ask me questions anywhere you want. Except you can ask me questions on Facebook through Facebook, but I don't have a Twitter or an Instagram or like any of that. But also you can, well, there's YouTube obviously, and yeah. But I'm sure there's other ways you could let me know. But yeah, if it doesn't make sense to you, then hopefully some of it will make sense. It's pretty. I'm determined to make at least one thing make sense. I'm determined. Plus, I know it'll make sense. So, um, okay, what else? So a lot of people tend to expect immediate doctor visits for shots to get their shots at the doctor, but that's not always the case. But sometimes it's a kind of a common misconception, but more commonly it's the other way around, you know what I mean? So yeah, but before we get into that, the thing is, like, some people, thing is, my specific situation, even though I'm very applicable, very applicable to get in doctor shots, um, specifically, even though there's that, I still could get at home shots, but specifically, the reason I was getting doctor shots, like, in the doctor, is because the specific medicine that I had, with the specific type of needle I had in the injection and everything, the specific medicine I got prescribed, and the best one for me is a type of injection that goes in the rear. So if it goes in the rear, most likely they will give you in doctor shots, and it can also go other places. So they give you a choice. But because I'm sitting in a wheelchair, obviously, the most easy access place for me is in the thigh or the arm or anywhere like that. And it's almost like not only just easy access, it's just extremely, extremely more easy for me and everybody else to do. And if you do get a shot requires that requires an injection in the rear or the back you will most likely need assistance. You will need two people for that. Like, you will need someone to help you with that. So if you have someone to help you with that and you got that kind, just make sure you have someone to help you, and make sure you're comfortable with them seeing your butt and being around you that way. Make sure you're comfortable, they're comfortable. Yeah, safety and comfort is very important there. Yeah, so I'm just glad I didn't have to do any of that. But yeah, and that's another option. I'm not sure between options of getting it in the rear or the leg of these medicines, but all I know, this specific medicine is kind of meant to go in the rear. And also, they kind of grazed over that part, but I know there's something with that. So maybe mine's like interchangeable or more. I don't even know which one is more suited for which one, but yeah, that's like literally a thing. And so yeah, and that's literally a thing. And so yes, that I explained that part. And so only reason I explained that because they they didn't really offer me doctor shots, but I mean offer me at home shots, but they just told me the difference between them because I asked. Because I asked. Because also one thing you always got to do your research and everything, but a lot of trans guys know the difference between you, the difference between the fact that you can get at home shots or in doctor shots and everything. So and a lot of trans guys also know that it's a choice, and they'll explain it to you. Any questions you have, they will explain and everything. So and the steps are a lot. There's a lot of other steps that take longer than you think. Mm, It takes a little bit longer than you think, but it's not that long. It's also not as long as you think. You know what I mean? So, next thing I think I should touch on, I'm kind of going from the end to the beginning instead of the beginning to the end and stuff. So, yeah. And then maybe I'll do a quick recap from beginning to end. So you have all that. But yeah. Next thing. Okay. So when you get your shot injection, what was I? Okay. So I didn't really forget what I was going to say, but I kind of this is because I went from like a side notation that was kind of important that isn't really step two something that's supposed to be important, So what was I going to say? So okay, we got that. My shot was that. So okay, so since so the thing with my in doctor shots. Okay, in doctor shots, getting your shots in doctor. In my opinion, it's probably best to have the doctor do your shots, but it's every 2 weeks. You can't. A lot of people don't want to go down to the doctor every 2 weeks. So in my case, we spent about a year getting shots in the doctor's office from a nurse, and then eventually, going into the second year, they I requested meaning my helper, and then basically I requested that I get in-home shots before my helper because she didn't want to do all this doctor visits and stuff. But yeah. Okay, so since she couldn't do the in-doctor visits, I obviously requested that we do in-home shots. So the thing with the in-home shots, that's also very important if you start doing in-home shots, which I have. And yeah, and then next thing we're gonna go to is being applicable for doctor shots with doing in-home shots because that's the safety thing. Okay, next thing, the difference between the thing with the in-home shots, what they do with the in-home shots. Just like going in to get your first shot, to get an in-home shot, that you have to go in and they have to show you how to do the shot. You have to do the shot by yourself, and that's what an in-home shot is. You know what I mean? Or you go in, they show you how to do the shot, or they show someone else that may help you how to do the shot if you can't do it yourself or anything. Or they can show you both. Just whatever you choose, whatever you prefer. So, anyways, with that, I went to my doctor's appointment and they showed me how to do my own shot. And so I learned how to do my own shot, and that was good, right? So I learned how to do that, and that was good. And they showed you all the steps and the safety requirements and like all that. And it's basically a normal shot, just giving yourself a normal everyday shot. Except which a lot of people don't have to do, but a lot of people do for a lot of specific um, um, specific singular reasons. Like think like such as like or diabetes or heart problems or maybe sometimes kidney stuff or stuff like that. But um, but the only difference here is that how to draw the way you draw up the shot. So you're giving yourself a regular shot, a daily dose shot, but the only difference is the way you draw up the shot. For my shot specifically, it comes with two needles. It comes with two needles, one needle to draw up the medicine and one needle to take the medicine in. So what you do is you draw up the medicine with the bigger needle, which is called the barrel, that can suck up the medicine into the vial and take up all the medicine that you need and everything, suck it in, and then you have to measure it out, suck it in, and then when you got your stuff, it goes. You switch out the needle, and then you put on the injection needle and everything, which is called the syringe needle and everything. And so yeah, with a barrel needle, the reason there's two needles for testosterone specifically is because testosterone is a thick chemical, so they need a bigger needle to be able to suck it in. It wouldn't be able to be sucked in if you used a normal size needle and everything. If you just use an injection needle. And I know there's estrogen shots and stuff, but I don't know if they need two needles, and I don't think they do because I've seen estrogen shots and I'm pretty sure they don't need two needles, but that's a really big difference with these injections and any other kind of injection really. So that's an important part. That's one thing they'll explain to you really, and that's what my specific medicine too. But to each his own yet and still. And if it's not two needles, if it's not two needles, they might just give you a bigger needle stick in yourself. But most of the time, it's two needles. And some injection needles are little, some injection needles are big, but they're all still injection needles, and shouldn't they shouldn't hurt you too much. But some do hurt much more than others. I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure it's obvious, like, if you've seen sizes and everything, it's kind of obvious, but none of them will really actually hurt you. Some of them would just cause a little bit more pain than others and everything. But most of them do have two needles still. And, okay. And some injection needles are big and some are little, but and then there's like milligrams. And one thing you have to go to the doctor specifically for is milligrams. They'll tell you the dose, your average dose in milligrams, and the doctor has to examine all that stuff. They have to check your blood and everything. Got to check your testosterone levels and everything. And so, but in the beginning, firsthand, to do your at home shot or the shot in general, they have to give you a dosage. They have to tell you the dosage and the exact dosage what you'll be taking, and or the exact dosage to measure it out to. And just like any other doctor who gives a shot, if they see that your dosage is messed up, they'll either lower or heighten the dosage. So you really have to be as precise as you can with the measurements. You can't go like way over or way under because obviously that's not going to work. I mean, a little bit over or a little bit under isn't going to hurt you that much, but a lot of frequency with that is going to eventually affect your results. Even if it doesn't hurt you, it will affect your results and everything. But obviously you can't go way over or way under, or that will hurt you. That will hurt you. That will mess with your health or make you sick, or maybe cause permanent injuries to permanent places. But that's that's probably a given if you're an adult. If you're an adult, you should probably already know that and be cautious of it, or your parents should know that and be cautious of it. So yeah, that's that and everything, and okay, so yeah, and let me see. That's basically that. That topic's over, but one thing. Mhm. Okay, the thing with the barrel, some barrels look like normal injection needles with an injection needle, but that depends on the size of the injection needle. If you can have a barrel still and still have a tiny injection needle, but still have a barrel. But that all depends on sizes. And to go through that really quick, my injection needle is like a normal size syringe, but I mean it's a little bit bigger than a normal size syringe. But like I said, the reason for that is like I said in the beginning, it's supposed to go in your backside. So the ones that go supposed to go in your backside are bigger. So, but yeah, it can still go in your leg. It's a little bit bigger than your normal shot syringe, which is a thing, but kind of sucks. But it is what it is. I'm grateful for it every day. I love it, even still. Yeah, I'm not squeamish for shots or anything, so definitely not squeamish for shots. So yeah, but I've seen like sizes go from like normal injection needles, bigger injection needles, like little itty bitty ones like butterfly injection needles, all sorts of sizes and everything. But and I don't know really the average. That's something you'll have to look up, and that I'll probably look up a little bit later. But yeah, and that's what that is. So that topic is completely over and done with. So yeah, we went through that part. And then okay, and the next quick part that's all going together in one thing is cleanup and everything, and preparation and cleanup. Okay, first go through the preparation. Make sure your hands are washed or clean. Make sure your hands are either washed or clean enough for you, or literally just clean. And if you can, wash your hands beforehand. Obviously, that's what the doctor will tell you. But eventually, with a lot of people, well, with me, a lot of times I don't even wash my hands beforehand. But literally, that's because I'm literally a little bit lazy. So, but it's your shot. Once you get used to it, it's just you should know how your body works. But try to make sure your hands are as clean as you possibly can be. So, and a little dirt won't hurt in anything really, but do not get so much dirt, it'll be infected. But my hands are always very clean, so that's not a problem. And a lot of times I do have soap on them beforehand anyway. And make sure your hands are clean. Make sure make sure you have everything out in front of you so you don't make a mistake and then have to reach over and grab and try to fumble with things, because that can cause problems. And make sure you have like alcohol wipes, band-aids, um, all that good stuff. And then make sure, and okay, the next thing, all the sharps or the syringes, the chambers, and the other needle, all the sharps go in to something called a sharp container. And if you know anything about diabetes or taking at home shots, you know what a sharp container is, which I know a lot of people have and everything. So yeah, and that's part of preparation and cleanup. So that's preparation cleanup. Take Make sure it's clean. Or make sure you're like sterilized with alcohol wipes. Make sure it's clean. Make sure your hands are as clean as possible. Make sure your hands aren't too shaky, and make sure you're in a good position not to be in any injurious position or as little pain as you can be. So yeah, So yeah, just make sure your preparations are good. Be cautious. Take cautious. Be safe. Do all that stuff. And then another important part about preparation and taking the shot is how to draw up the medicine. How to draw up the medicine and everything. Um, how to draw up the medicine. Well, testosterone comes in a vial, right? A normal vial bottle. You take it out of the box. You either pop off the top or use the leftover stuff, and you hold it upside down. You hold it upside down with the barrel. First, you start with the barrel. You put the barrel on. You start with the barrel. Put the medicine on top, and from there you draw out the medicine to your recommended dosage and stuff exactly. So yeah, you have to start upside down. And what they tell you to do, what they instruct you to do, which is kind of very important, when you draw up the medicine and you draw it out enough, if you see bubbles or anything, you push the medicine back up into the bottle and make sure there is no bubbles you see top and everything and that's fine. And what I usually do is I draw the medicine out as much as I can. And if I see bubbles or if I don't, I usually always just for quicker reasons and for good reasons, I always give it a mandatory push up to make sure there is no bubbles because more often than not, there's kind of always bubbles when you first draw it in. And my doctor, they said the second thing you do is you just push it up to get rid of the bubbles. So that's what I always do. That's what I was instructed to do, and that's what I am sticking to. So yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. So yeah, I give it a minute. I push it up back into the bottle, and then I draw it back out, and yeah, and I push it up into the back up into the vial, and then I draw it back out a second time, and make sure it's clear with no bubbles. And if it still has a bunch of bubbles, or if there's more bubbles or little bubbles, you push it back up again, and then you draw it back out again. And you get it as little bubbles as you can. If it's as little bubbles as you can, make it as clear as you can. And then you're done with that. You're done with drawing up the medicine and everything. And if you have leftover medicine, you just put it back in the box, close the box, and then there. That's that. And then you put your syringe needle on, and then you put it in. You put it in, poke it in. You know what I mean? And then when you poke it in, they told me when you poke it in, you push it into your skin, right? You push it into your skin, and then to push, you push it. Okay, might as well go with this first. I didn't know this right off the bat, but you know, you push it into your skin, but you have to push it deep down. You have to push it deep down into the muscle tissue. You have to put it deep down into the muscle tissue, like so it's all the way in the muscle. You want it in the muscle because it's an intermuscular shot. For, is most of them are intermuscular shots. So you push it deep down into the muscle, and then make sure it's in the muscle. And then next thing you do with the shot, you push down, and you push down until all the medicine is gone. And when you push down all the way, you don't feel it at all. You don't. You will never feel the medicine go into the muscle. And I'm pretty sure if you do, you don't have it deep. You don't have it in the muscle or not deep enough in the muscle, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? If you feel the medicine going in, I'm pretty sure you do not have it in the muscle or not deep at all in the muscle. So yeah, you push it in, you can't feel the medicine go in, and then yeah, when you're done pushing it in, all the medicine is out. Um, you you pull it out, and if it's but just the prehand thing when you push it in and everything to get it deep. What I didn't know is when you put it in, not only do you get it in the muscle, it has to be all the way. The needle has to be basically all the way into your muscle tissue, all the way in to your muscle tissue. And what I mean by that, the whole needle has to be within the area you're putting it in, or else it'll leak. It'll leak out medicine. So you can't put it like halfway in, and then even if it's in the tissue, because halfway in will get it in the tissue, but if you to get it in, you can't have it leak. So you have to put the needle all the way into the skin because yeah, you don't want any leaks. And so what that means, put the whole metal part in your skin until you hit the bottom part that isn't a part of the needle, which is plastic. So yeah, so put it all the way into your skin, all the way, put the needle all the way in and everything. So yeah, and that's taking the injection, push it in, put it in, push it down, make sure it's empty, and then it should be good. That part should be good. And when you push it down, make sure it's all the way out, and it doesn't take very long at all. It only takes literally a few seconds. Literally, it takes a few seconds. And as far as pain goes, um, the faster you go with pushing it down, the less pain you'll be in. Because if you push it down, I mean you can push it down slow and it'll be fine. But if you push it down, like you start pushing it down and then you stop and then try to go again, that'll be a lot of pain for you. And that can also cause an abscess. So yeah, so you might want to either go slowly or go as fast as you can, but you don't want to pause pushing it down. And also, if you pause pushing it down, it might move the needle, and you might like end up with a tear, or the medicine might not get in. And a tissue tear isn't really that bad, but if depending on where you put it, if you tear a tissue, that's fine. But then if you tear a ligament, that's another thing. But yeah, that's another thing. It's all about safety. All about safety and everything. So. So and that's what the alcohol sterilizing it with the alcohol wipe is for. So you don't get any tears, any abscess, or anything. If you do a good alcohol swab, it really does lessen the chance of you getting any injuries like that, any inner biological injuries. So that's that, and we want to push it in, put the needle away, push it down. But then, like depending on when you take it out, this part depends on your body and you and what how you do and your body in general. When you take it out, you can either leave it in for a little bit or you can just pull it out right away. For most people, you can just pull it out right away, and that's the best method. But for some people, like pulling it out right away doesn't give enough time for the medicine to settle or the blood. So maybe sometimes wait a few minutes, a few seconds. Not okay. That's a big no. That's a big mess up for me. Definitely do not wait a few minutes. Wait a few seconds, not minutes, seconds. Maybe even less than a few seconds. But just don't be super speedy with pulling out and stuff for certain people. And plus, like I said, I got a big needle, so that's probably another thing. And for me, even if there's blood for me, sometimes I don't want medicine leaking out, so that's my thing. But if you're squeamish about blood and everything, and you do need it to be in for a few seconds, then that's probably a good thing. And blood, you should always be expecting some blood, so just be prepared for blood. That's why band-aids are important. So that's that. That's that whole thing. Okay, so we're about halfway done. Now, the past part, you physically have the shot. Now we're going back more. Now we're going back more. Not, okay, we're going back a little more. So going back, obviously, before you physically have the shot in your hands and you can physically take the medicine, this is a very frequently asked question from trans people and people wondering about transitioning, and a lot of people wondering about medicines like this in general. So the next steps for that is the at the burp. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so the little next step behind that is the consultation. The consultation for your testosterone, because you get something from get a referral. So the next thing after the referral, you go to a consultation. Like with a lot of other stuff, you go to a consultation, right? You go to a consultation. You inform your hormone doctor or whatever kind of doctor you go to for your hormones. They check you out. They ask you some questions, and then if you get approved, then they'll attempt to get you set up for your medicines or your testosterone. In this case, but that's a whole another thing that's very important. That when you get your referral and you're approved, they'll attempt to get you your testosterone or the medicine that you're wanting to get. But sometimes it always doesn't go through, depending on what you want. I mean, most insurances will cover the medicine, but a lot of insurances do not cover the entire the entire thing for the medicines. I mean, some people have to pay a little bit for it, or at least half for it. But most insurances do pay for the entire thing for the medicine. In my case, they did pay for the entire thing. They paid for the medicine and the needles and everything. So that's already paid for through my medical insurance, and medical care. The cost, as far as the cost of the insurance, paid for mine and stuff. And I have really, really low budget insurance that's not that good. So that's a good hope for everybody else really who has insurance basically, especially if they have better insurance than me. So and there's always other resources if you don't have insurance or anything. But the thing about even if you don't have insurance and resources, my insurance paid for it all together. But the only two things you need them to pay for really is the down payment for the needles and the down payment for the testosterone referrals. And really, it's not as much money as you think, but my insurance paid for the entire thing. So, so what the down payment does, it gives you a down payment for your testosterone prescription and your needle prescription. So as long as you're prescribed needles and you prescribe the medicine, you continuously get the needles and the medicine through the insurance or through whoever pays for it. I mean, and for certain places and certain people, the medicine will cost more or the needles will cost more. But like if you go through the right channels and do everything right, this basic part, insurance will probably pay for it. And that's a really common misconception or a really thing that a lot of things that people don't really think about. You know what I mean? But the thing is, let me see. I mean, I can only speak for myself. But the thing is, one thing I'm basically going to really at least attempt to try to help some, like try to exclude and everything with the insurance for testosterone and needles. Really, but that's the thing a lot of people don't get. It's not really paying insurance for transitioning, but you're paying for things like you're just paying for the medicine and the needles. And if you think about it, it really isn't that much altogether. Hold on, screaming baby again. It's nighttime, and yeah, they're not being nice to him. Not nice enough for him, but they're not being nice. I'm tired. He's tired. We're all a little bit tired. Not me, not you guys, but he's a bit. Little junior needs a nap. I'm literally going to have to wait till he stops crying. We're just gonna. And since I get that little gap area, I'm going to do my, so I don't have to lean off the camera constantly over and over and over again. But I think I'm gonna do it frequently. And so so yeah, but like back to what I was saying. it really shouldn't cost as much as people say or as much as people think. And people might say a certain thing online, but really the reality and expectation of it is a lot different than what it is online. It's a lot different. And and trust me, it is, even though I'm speaking for self experience, but because I'm speaking from self experience, I know for a fact now it really is. And if you, like you said, if you think about it, it's just that. So if you use good intuition, your good adult brain, if you use your good adult brain, everything should be cool. Everything should be cool. And plus, most people, if you don't have insurance or if it's not covered by insurance, you still should have enough money to pay for it, like in other ways. And plus, they still have things like over the counter prescriptions. And I mean, to get it over the counter is kind of a different thing to do, but you can still get it like over the counter prescriptions. What are they called? Okay, what are they called? The so the whole thing is like they're basically like self-referral clinics. Like the doctor referrals you to them, but like they're like self-referral from the doctor, and they just hand you your homework. But they're called um a mm, a basically self-referral clinic. I know I know you guys, a lot of you guys probably have heard of the self-referral clinic, and basically what that is, you just go to your doctor, your little doctor, and then they say you want hormones. We can give you a referral. You take it to the clinic, and then you get your hormones and everything. So you can skip a lot of steps, but if you can't get it from insurance, you literally can like go around the insurance and go straight there, because they really literally do just hand you your hormones, and all you got to do is pay the fee, and then you're done. You got it. And that's the thing. That's the money you pay from, or either from the insurance or without the insurance. That's the fee you're paying. So that fee they pay to just get your hormones, that's literally the money you spend. So, but most of the time, it's probably smarter to do it with insurance than without, because like it's just like it's probably safer to do it with insurance rather than without, because it's just more reliable and consistent with that. And plus, you get better quality medicines and stuff. So yeah, but I definitely do not recommend these self referral clinics for a lot of reasons. For a lot of reasons. So yeah, that's basically what you go through to get the medicines. But the doctor has to go through your insurance, see if you're covered by insurance, and see like how long it'll take them to get the notice, and like how much of it they'll pay for, and like what areas you can actually get, if they need to adjust some things or do whatever to get you your medicines and everything. And then they'll schedule your next appointment, and they'll either tell you what's going on, give you your results, or tell you when you get your medicine, or they'll tell you what's going on, and that's called a follow up. You do not get the medicine directly after your follow up. So yeah, at your follow up, they'll tell you the results of their referral thing to your insurance and stuff, and from there, after the follow up, if you're referred and it's like you got everything set up, after that, that's when you go in for your first shot and everything. So that's that portion of it. That's basically the consultation. And then there's more before the consultation. And then we're almost done here. We're almost done here. So before the consultation, you have to get a notice from the doctor. And obviously, and you got to get a notice from the doctor and another referral from the doctor. So what the notice is basically another referral. Another referral. I always do this when I talk about referrals because it just reminds me of referrals and stuff. Yeah. Uh, okay. So yeah. You got to get a separate referral from your doctor and everything, which you bring to the consultation, because they have to refer you to a hormone doctor, which is usually a endocrinologist or a urologist or a HRT specialist, but yeah, it's either an endocrinologist, HRT specialist, or a urologist, and I go to a urologist. So yeah, I go to a urologist in this case. So yeah, the doctor has to refer you to a urologist or a separate doctor. And yeah, so but before to get the notice for the doctor, you have to have another notice. You have to have another notice from from a psychiatrist. You have to go to this. One of the very first things you have to do is go to a psychiatrist and talk and and talk to them about like your whole gender identity and your gender response in general, like your feelings and your gender response in general and stuff to see um, to see if like you're really ready for hormones in any case and like where your head is at and everything. Like where your head is at, like and where you would actually fall within like your gender expression, like what kind how, and depending on where you fall in gender expression, like depending on what your psychiatrist says, they'll decide on what kind of medicine and if that's needed. They'll put a note or an anecdote through it, and and yeah, they'll basically tell you this is where your head is at, and this is what I think. And if they give you the referral, then you can do it. And another thing about talking to a psychiatrist, it's not a psychologist. You have to talk to a psychiatrist who is the type of doctor who refers medicine and everything. And plus, it's supposed to give you time to think about like if you're ready or not. And yeah, so yeah, you go there, but it's a specific thing. You have to go there for at least a year or two, or as long as you think you need. But in my case specifically, I was already seeing a psychologist and a psychiatrist anyway. So before I got even well before I even starting to attempting to get the letter, I did the normal psychiatrist thing, but right away when I came out, I made them aware, and they said, "Okay, we'll work on that specifically, but it's not them specifically, but they'll talk to me about it specifically and frequently." So, so for me, the total of times I was spending at the psychiatrist is different for a normal person who is just going there for hormones. And one thing that will really help, the total of years it took me to get to get my letter and like fully do something with that letter. I had it for about I like kind of waited for about 2.5 years, basically a year and a half, but basically two. So basically 2 years. 2 years I gave a 2 year waiting period while before I got my letter and after I got my letter, because even when I got my first letter, I kind of let it sit for a while, and then and if you don't act on the letter and it expires, all you got to do is ask your psychiatrist for a new updated letter, and they'll give it to you, and then you can act on it whenever you want, but before it expires. Um, so yeah, so yeah, so so yeah, that's the psychiatry part basically. But I go and just to help anyone who has any like pullback or pushback on this, I don't go to the psychiatrist just for hormones, which is also another good thing. It's always kind of good to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist if you, especially if you have like gender issues or sexuality like things going on. If you have a different sexuality identity or different gender identity, it's probably always good to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist and everything. So, and especially if you have other things going on, it's obviously definitely good for that. So, I'm still in the psychiatry area still right now to this day, but my total of being at the psychiatry area for this specific thing was about altogether 4 years. So the whole transition thing beforehand with the psychiatrist for me and my specific specific choices and everything is 4 years altogether because everyone is basically different. Everyone is literally basically different. So beforehand for me was like 4 years beforehand because I came out when I was. This all started when I was like 18. So and I didn't get a little testosterone till I was 24, and I didn't get the whole psychiatry thing till I was like 20. I got my first letter literally when I was 22, almost 23, and then when I was 23, I got my second letter, and then when I was basically just 24, I got my second letter, took it to the doctor, and then started when I was 24. So I'm almost 27 now. So yeah, it's still pretty. It's good. It's good timing for me. It's good timing for me, and it's really good timing for anyone in general specifically. That's good. When you have good timing, it's always good. That's a nice timing. That's a nice round timing. And if you think about it, it's still pretty early and everything. That just proves there's no reason to rush. But don't wait so long that you just can't do it anymore. Don't wait so long that you just can't do it anymore and like your heart's not in it. Don't wait so long that people can tell that your heart's not in it and everything. So yeah. And obviously, what the psychiatrist part position is for is to make sure you're not like lying or you don't have like some kind of like self esteem issue or that you're not just confused. That's what the psychiatry part is for. But but the whole point of checking to see if you're like confused or like somewhere like if you're feelings are somewhere uneven, you can be a little bit uneven with that. But if you are, the psychiatrist will tell you and probably make up some different options for you. But in my case, mine landed where it did. But another thing for me that might also probably help right before I got my um, letter, they they did a quick another quick questionnaire, and then they gave me a questionnaire paper with some simple questions on it. Well, it's basically one simple question with some simple choices, and it's all suited to you. And mine had three simple choices, and I circled the one I most felt like and the one I wanted all in general. So yeah, after they have already proved that this is like how my head is and this is what is actually with me. So just to make sure I'm all even, they gave me three simple choices fit from around me. So I circled the one that was definitely me, which was for my case in the end binary trans man. So I circled that one, and then from there I got my referral because that's what I wanted and that's how I felt and everything. But I did have other things that I could have felt and probably still have a certain thing with the medicine. I probably would have still gotten the medicine with these other two things, but for me in general, especially since that's not true, it probably wouldn't have shot sales good or as well as it is supposed to and everything. And another thing, another very important thing about the psychiatry check is a lot of people don't know this, but even then, with this entire psychiatry check, if you're not feeling it anymore, if you're not feeling it or you can't do it and everything, that just means the psychiatrist kind of tried to help you, but wasn't exactly on the mark. But if you don't feel like doing it anymore, that's really up to you. You always know when the psychiatrist isn't exactly on the mark because what that basically is you feeling like not exactly right still. So what that would amount to basically is something called a detransition. It's something called a detransition. And so unless someone detransitions and everything, they're probably still exactly on the mark with whatever the psychiatrist thinks. So and basically what a detransition is like taking any type of hormone for a limited time, stopping, and then just going on with something else. That kind of means your psychiatrist wasn't really on the mark. But yeah, that's kind of the things with the other choices for hormones that aren't binary for men or women. That's the whole other thing about the choices that aren't binary. So basically, the other choices, even though I don't know what the other choices amount to, it basically still kind of means the psychiatrist still kind of doesn't know where the mark is really, so they try their hardest to be on the mark, but it's just maybe that's just you and everything. So, but yeah, I am a binary trans person, and so that's really what medicine. That's the goal of all that. All the for the psychiatrist is. But yeah, I really don't know how anything other than what I learned would have worked. But yeah, I kind of do know. There's one certain specific thing, but the other thing, I have no idea how it would work. So I can't really tell you. I can't really tell you about that. So yeah. But I'm a binary trans person. That's where I am. That's who I am. That's how it works. And everything for me, for that part, and that's basically the whole part of everything. But that's basically almost basically the end. So I'm a binary trans person. That's how it works. And that's who gets prescribed hormones, and that's who actually takes hormones and takes them long term without any in between stuff. But anything else or anyone else, I don't really get. But the second choice I had, I know how that would have worked. But there's a third choice I had that definitely I do not know how it would have worked. And I think everyone's different, and um, since there's really no point of me trying to disclose the second or third choices, because like everyone kind of everyone's gonna make their choice anyway, and it's kind of almost self-explanatory without me explaining, even though you don't exactly know what it is. But if that happens for you, it's self-explanatory anyway. So there's really no point of going through that part. Video's long enough anyway. So yeah. So now, now I just gotta think back a little more to see if I missed anything. So so um so um so yeah, let me try to check and see if I missed anything. Okay, so that means I have to think about the very first part, besides coming out and knowing that you're trans, because that's not really what the video is about. But and coming out and knowing that you're trans to me is no different from coming out anything else, and we all already know kind of how that works. We get the gist of that, right? We get the gist of that. So I'm pretty sure I got it. I'm pretty sure I got all my steps and everything that matters to me, all the steps that matter to me. So the very last thing before I go over the steps, like literally, the very last thing is the way my transition is, and like my personal opinions and everything for my transition and everything. Like I said in the beginning, kind of goes back to the beginning. Kind of goes back to the beginning. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, my transition is basically almost over at top surgery, and the reason for that is because the choices you can make, all the choices you can make with your transition and everything. So mine basically ends at top surgery, but it basically ends at top surgery, but it always doesn't. It never always just ends at where you want it to end, because even though it's over, keep you still have to keep on your hormones, keep on your medicine, just like any other medicine, kind of. And really, with hormones and estrogen, you basically have to be on it for most of your life, and basically also the fact your entire life, basically. But not to be grandiose, but to say your entire life is kind of ridiculous. But literally, they do mean your entire life. But like your entire life. But if depending on when you die, how old you get, and everything, That's kind of crazy. But you know what I mean by that. You know what I mean. I'm just putting that out there a little bit. But they do need, so basically hormones and estrogen and stuff, you have to be on it constantly and continuously your entire life, or as long as your body is persistent and can persistent and capable persistent and capable. But at a certain point, obviously, if you want to keep that position up and everything, depending on your body and everything, you can keep it up basically, and you should keep it up for as long as you can for it to be persistent and everything. But depending on if your checks are good and your hormones are good and your levels are good, you can easily just stop if you want to stop, and then you can stop when you want to stop. And certain things certain things are unchangeable, and certain things might change back. But after a certain point, and you got good levels and everything, it probably won't change back as much as you think, or even at all, to be noticeable to you or anybody else. And your dysphoria will still be almost completely obliterated. So if you've been on it for like enough time for you to feel satisfied and everything, but I think you get what I mean. But that's why top surgery is very important, because there's no way you can get to that if you don't get top surgery for trans men. But that's another thing. That's another thing. No, you do not have to get top surgery, but the only way you can get to that point of being able to stop, if you want a certain look and everything, is to get top surgery. But another option is you would have to bind. You would have to bind for your entire life if you do not want to get top surgery and want to stop hormones. So either you keep consistently taking hormones without top surgery and you still have to bind, or you bind and don't take the hormone, and then you'll still have a lot of very noticeable things, because without top surgery, that'll keep the more hormones flowing anyways. So yeah, top surgery is a lot of times mandatory for a lot of trans men, but that's another thing. You obviously don't have to start hormones if that's not your jam. If that's not your jam, you don't feel that way, and it's not necessary for you. Don't start hormones if it's not necessary for you. And and if you're identifying as a man and you're okay with the way you look, and it's not a mandatory thing, then definitely do not. But yeah, and most of the time it has to be, not even most of the time, it has to be mandatory if you want to start hormones. If you want to start hormones, it basically, in my opinion especially, has to be a mandatory thing for you. If it's just a thing you're thinking about doing just because it'll make you feel maybe a little bit better, and if it's a maybe for you, then you definitely should not start it, and your doctor will see that, and your therapist will see that too. So they will basically lead you in the right direction with that. You have doctors and therapists. So multiple doctors, multiple therapists, and everything. So top surgery is important and everything. And top surgery is one place you can stop. But the thing with stopping, it's all about your choices and everything. But like getting top surgery, that's one thing. And then there's the bottom surgery thing. That's that's never mandatory. That's a never mandatory thing. And a lot of trans men don't have bottom surgery because they probably don't want it, and most trans men can't afford it. That's one thing most people cannot afford. Bottom surgery is actually very expensive, and sometimes, a lot of times, even top surgery is expensive. So a lot of times it is very expensive. So, but not as expensive as bottom bottom. You will have no your bank will have no bottom if you try to go, if you really want bottom surgery, if you know what I mean. But top surgery almost most of the time is covered by insurance fully, but that's a whole nother step, and I haven't really got there yet, so I can't really break that part down. So it's almost, that's a whole nother part, a lot shorter part, but a whole nother part, a very like harder thing to do, but still shorter, all in the ways. And I don't have a lot of stuff put to. I mean, I have everything put together, but yeah, there's a lot of information I got to have from the doctor specifically, so I can like see what's gonna happen. Hopefully, you guys just hope for the best for me. Hope for the best for me, and all the other stuff I could go through like aftercare for that and stuff, but I don't have any like information on that. Instead of you hearing about my issues and my problems, just yeah, just know that. Hope for the best. And that's kind of obvious, but just to know that's kind of not obvious. Even though hormones and needles aren't that expensive, things like top surgery and bottom surgery are definitely expensive. But top surgery is different from bottom surgery. So in any case, if any case I haven't been to the consultation for top surgery, but well, actually, I've been to the consultation for the top surgery, but for my case, again, for my case, I have to go to two separate consultations because I got to go to the consultation for the doctor, and now for some reason I have to go to a consultation for another doctor who's basically the surgeon. But most of the time, it starts with the doctor surgeon, and then you go to one consultation because this doctor was also a surgeon, so but I have to go to a second surgeon for some reason. I don't everything is that's kind of confusing, but no, yeah, it is what it is. But in that case, I do not after the consultation, I do not know what happens after that. But in any case, like me, for people like me who if and whatever, if I can't get top surgery, um, there's a couple ways to get around that. Really, um, those are really not like enviable ways for me. So, but it's called just looking on the bright side, I guess. So, but for me, the whole thing, uh, the reason why it's okay for me not to be able to get top surgery is because I have really rather large breasts, and what I do most of the time is either they're actually really easy to cover up, because not right now. This is the most difficult it's been to cover them up. And I know you can see them and I know they're noticeable, but yet it's like you can see them and they're noticeable, but they're not very like distracting or like an obvious thing, even though they do make me feel uncomfortable. But this specific thing in time, this is the most noticeable they get. But also, there's that for me, and the reason they're not noticeable for me and everybody else is because the type of shirts I wear and everything. And another thing for me, which is bad. Another thing with me for me, which is bad because for me it's almost basically not it's basically not an option for me to bind anymore. So binding's like kind of out of the question for me, but the way I do it right now is just wear a nice sturdy bra that obviously you can't doesn't that helps that doesn't exonerate things, and then wear a nice and that's all I do really. And then them really not noticeable for me, but that's my body shape, And plus, the reason for that is, I one thing I can't walk, so that's one thing for my body. But that's not the problem. The thing, since I can't walk, I get natural exercises, natural exercise from me, so that changes my body shape. And two, since I do sit down, that changes the whole look in general. One more thing. Taking the hormones also changes things. So hormones help. I got those. So that kind of helps. And exercising and everything is really kind of what it's about for getting almost what you like need and everything. But even then, that's not even a fix, but it helps. It's just a help, not a fix. But yeah, it's a help, not a fix. But yeah, it's a help, not a fix. But not being able for me to get top surgery basically is kind of a bummer. If it ends like that, it'd be kind of a bummer. But for me, it would still be kind of a quick fix because I know eventually I will most definitely be able to get it because a lot of stuff has already been cleared up for me besides other things that might need to happen regarding like after things and certain things. So really, that would just be another like brief pause for me, but still. So that's just how it is. That's just a situation. That's just a situation you could be in or a scenario, and that's my way of handling it. My poorly explained way of handling that, but that's where I'm at altogether with that. So that's the whole thing with that. And so we're basically done. So basically done. That's the end and everything. No, and that's the end. So basically, to go over the steps from beginning to end is basically first step, come out, first step, okay, prehand, come out, realize you're trans, come out, do all that. That's like the prehand. That's step zero. That's step zero. You know. Second step, go to the psychiatrist, get your letter, and do and see all that. Third step, go to the doctor, get a referral. Fourth step, go to the consultation. Fifth step, go to the consultation. Fifth step, see about the insurance. Sixth step, start the hormones. Seventh step, either take the hormones at the doctor or self shopping. And maybe like mm, ninth step, ninth step, take the hormones either at home or at the doctor. And depending on what you choose, the next step will be learn how to take the shot or get the shot from the doctor. Either way, next step, learn how to take the shot. And then next step after that is learn how to take the shot. Next step after that, plan your next step. And then next step after that is start the surgeries and everything. And that's basically when you start the surgeries and everything, start the surgeries, get your surgeries, and then that's all you got to do. So altogether is basically about 10 or 11 steps. So that's kind of the whole thing of how I did it and how to do it and all that. So that's good. That's good. It's hard. It's hard to know, but it's really not the hardest thing, but it's hard on the body and kind of hard on the mind and hard on the emotions, you know. Plus, there could be a lot of disappointment, could be a lot of weird feelings, and it could be a lot of annoyance sometimes. But you know, you just gotta work through it. Gotta work through it. We all have times like that. But yeah. And plus, you have to deal with the general dysphoria and the fact that you have to do this in the first place and all the other crap that we gotta go through. We gotta go through it. That's self-mandatory. So so um, so yeah. So yeah, that's that. And one more very quick thing that I forgot to address is shot pain. Shot pain is another thing you got to go through, but shot pain is is painful. It's a lot more painful than you think, but you can go through it. And if it starts to make you faint, if it starts to make you faint and you faint during your shot, if you're doing that's probably most like it has to be during doing a self shot with shot pain because if you start taking a shot and you start to faint in any way, if you're at the doctor, you start to faint. They'll either let you faint and still they'll let you faint, go on with the shot, and you got your shot. But or they can give you some medicine to help you with the fainting or the pain because it's at a doctor. But if you're at home doing a shot and it hurts too much that you start to faint, you know, just before you faint, just stop, take it out, clean it up a little bit. You can either stop, take it out, clean it up a little bit, and try it again. But what you should do, my suggestion is stop, take it out, clean it up a little bit, and go to the doctor so the doctor can give you the shot. And so go back to the doctor and go with the doctor shots, and then at that point it'll be mandated for you to have doctor visits and everything. So yeah, and so yeah, yeah. If it does hurt so much you start to faint, go to the doctor and everything, and that should be good. That should be good. And it shouldn't hurt that much, but it does hurt a lot more than you think. It just depends on you. But if you're taking the shots, especially regularly, it should match up to your pain tolerance. Or you can get recommended smaller needles or whatever. Or you can give yourself some medicine for the pain or put more alcohol on it. If it do anything that helps with pain. And remember, you always, if it hurts too much, just go to the doctor. And yeah, so yeah, that's the best. That's the best advice I can give you. And I think I covered every single area and every single base of it. So yeah, so yeah, I think that's all I got for you today. That was a chumbawamba, but it was a good chumbawamba. That's exactly what I wanted to do today. So there you go. Eat my pizza because you're the pepperoni. So yeah, appreciate. Don't hate, appreciate. Plus, I'm giving you free pizza. So, anyways, I hope that helped. And yeah, I hope it helped you in the best way possible and everything. Sorry about all the crying baby stuff. And yeah, but aren't they so cute? Aren't they so cute? So much cuteness for one thing. And anyway, stay strong, play hard, and peace. Nothing wrong with the little cuteness, but yep, stay strong, play hard, and peace. And happy transitioning to you. Happy transitioning to you. Yeah, yeah. All you rainbow blue and white and pink individuals. Yeah, or also rainbow. But anyways, peace out to you. Love y'all. Bye.